Briefly describe the assess/evaluate stage of the CPPF process and how you utilise the information gathered in order to address each part of the person-environment occupational performance model. During the assess/evaluate stage of the CPPF, to begin with, an initial assessment was completed with John while he was an inpatient on the ward. The following information was gathered from the initial assessment. Community supports. John received community supports from the local community care organisation and also had mental health involvement. Home management. With cooking and meals, John and his girlfriend both performed these. House cleaning, laundry and gardening were done by John's brother or his girlfriend. Shopping was done by John and his girlfriend. Transport was also provided by the local Indigenous Health Service and also by the local Community Care Service. John reported that his pre-admission status, that he was independent with the following: transfers, showering using a plastic chair, toileting, but he was having increasing difficulty getting on and off the toilet, he was having difficulty taking medication, and he was also having difficulty in feeding himself. He reported that he had put himself onto a softer diet due to difficulties with swallowing. John reported that he was independent with mobility, but when he went out in the community, he used a walking stick as he felt unsteady on his feet at times. So to summarise the issues that were found in the initial assessment, first was that John was experienced decreased independence in ADLs, which was secondary to his tremor, difficulty with bed transfers and access to his home due to a step. The second issue was that some small aids were required to increase his independence with feeding due to the effects of his tremor. The plan was then to refer John to the Community Occupational Therapy Service. A home assessment was then completed along with a functional assessment at John's home, where his girlfriend and occupational therapist Bridget Clune were also present. This was continuing the assess/evaluate stage of the CPPF process. Information from the home assessment included: externally, one step was required to enter the house. Internally, the house was level. John's bathroom had a flat shower recess, but there were no rails installed. His toilet was separate to the bathroom and there was no rails installed in the toilet. John had a single bed in his bedroom and he reported that he was having difficulty with getting to sleep at night due to feeling breathless and unable to get air in when he was lying flat on his bed. The OT student therefore trialled the use of a bed back raiser with John during the home assessment. John reported that this felt much better and that he was able to get air in. The OT student then reported that she would order the bed back raiser for John. In his self-care, he reported that with toileting and grooming, he was independent but was experiencing increased difficulty due to the tremor. Finally, in dressing, he was independent in dressing. Feeding, he was independent with normal cutlery, but he stated that he was having increased difficulty with getting food from his plate to his mouth due to the impact of the tremor. He was independent with bathing using a plastic chair to sit on during bathing, and his transfers, he was independent in the shower and in getting off chairs in his house. The problems are identified that were John was reporting feeling like he couldn't get air in when he was lying flat on his bed. John had difficulty with using normal utensils to feed himself due to his tremor, and he was experienced increased difficulty with transfers from his bed to stand and from his toilet to stand. After completing the assess/evaluate stage of the CPPF process, I was then able to determine what interventions to implement with John in order to target each part of the PEOP model. To target the environment, I ordered the fabrication of a wedge cushion to use as a bed back raiser for John. I also ordered grab rails to be installed in both the toilet and in the bathroom to assist with showering and maintaining independence. The occupation was targeted through research into options for cutlery for John to use when feeding, and also research into doing a task analysis with John on the occupation of feeding to see if any of the task breakdowns and to see if any further strategies could be implemented. Finally, we targeted the person through education of strategies to increase John's independence with feeding, such as cognitive strategies, and also linking John into further services such as Parkinson's WA.